What do you get when an energy drink brand steps into one of the most elite, technical, and expensive sports in the world and ends up beating legendary giants like Ferrari and Mercedes? You get Red Bull Racing, a brand that went from selling caffeine in a can to dominating the world's fastest sport. This is the story of how Red Bull didn't just race in Formula One, they redefined what a brand could be. A billion-dollar brand extension disguised as a race team, and one of the smartest marketing master plans the world has ever seen. In the mid-1980s, Dietrich Mateschitz discovered a strange energy drink while traveling through Thailand. He teamed up with the Thai creator and launched Red Bull in Austria in 1987. But Mateschitz didn't just launch a product, he launched a lifestyle. From the very beginning, Red Bull wasn't trying to compete with Coca-Cola or Pepsi. Instead, they created an identity: bold, extreme, rebellious. They aligned themselves with high-octane sports like motocross, cliff diving, snowboarding, and skydiving. They weren't just selling energy, they were selling adrenaline. But eventually, Red Bull wanted something bigger, something global, something louder. In 2004, Red Bull made a shocking move. They bought a struggling Formula One team, Jaguar Racing. Now, F1 wasn't a small investment. It was one of the most expensive sports on Earth, where teams like Ferrari had decades of experience, engineering, and prestige. People laughed, an energy drink company in F1? But Red Bull wasn't here for a short ride. They weren't here to sponsor. They were here to compete. And more importantly, they were here to own the narrative. Red Bull rebranded the team and brought in a secret weapon: Adrian Newey, one of the greatest F1 designers in history. While other teams were busy answering to shareholders and sticking to tradition, Red Bull built a culture of innovation. They gave Newey the freedom to build wild, aerodynamic cars that others wouldn't dare try. At the same time, Red Bull wasn't just building cars. They were building content. They filmed everything, documented everything, and they controlled it all. No middlemen, no corporate approvals. They didn't have to ask ESPN or Sky Sports for exposure. They became their own media powerhouse. By 2010, just 6 years after entering the sport, Red Bull Racing shocked the world. They won their first world championship, both the driver and constructor titles, with young star Sebastian Vettel. And they didn't stop there. From 2010 to 2013, they dominated Formula One. 4 consecutive titles, beating Mercedes, beating Ferrari, and doing it their way, with style, with storytelling, and with a brand presence no other team could match. It wasn't just racing, it was marketing at 300 kilometers an hour. While most F1 teams focused on performance, Red Bull focused on perception. They knew the real game wasn't just on the track, it was in the minds of fans around the world. They built Red Bull Media House, a massive content machine that produced everything from documentaries to extreme sports clips to behind-the-scenes F1 features. They made their drivers into rock stars. They built fandom around engineering, pit crews, personalities. Every race weekend became an event, on social media, on YouTube, and in millions of conversations. After their 4th-year domination, Red Bull hit a slump as Mercedes took over the F1 scene. But in 2016, a fiery young driver named Max Verstappen joined the team. Aggressive, bold, confident. He was Red Bull's brand personified. By 2021, Verstappen dethroned Mercedes in a nail-biting final race in Abu Dhabi. It was dramatic, controversial, and unforgettable. Exactly what Red Bull thrives on. And from 2022 onward, Verstappen and Red Bull were unmatched. They weren't just winning races, they were rewriting F1 history again. Let's talk numbers. Running an F1 team? Easily over $250 million a year. But what Red Bull gains in return is priceless. Global exposure every single week, unmatched brand credibility, content that lives forever. In 2023 alone, Red Bull sold over 11 billion cans of energy drinks. Their revenue? Over $11.4 billion. And their F1 presence was a key driver in premium brand positioning, especially among younger, global audiences. Red Bull's F1 strategy wasn't an accident. It was a masterclass in brand extension. Here's the formula. Own the team. Control the visuals. Be first to the content. Make every win a viral moment. Use performance to elevate perception. Turn fans into followers. Followers into customers. While other companies pay millions for ads, Red Bull spends millions on adventures. And in the process, they've become more than a brand. They've become a movement. Red Bull Racing wasn't just a flashy marketing stunt. It was one of the most powerful brand expansions in the 21st century. They didn't just join Formula One, they changed it. And along the way, they turned an energy drink into a billion-dollar empire built on speed, content, and culture. If this story inspired you, don't forget to subscribe to Brand Backstories. We break down the smartest brand strategies, marketing moves, and billion-dollar decisions from the world's biggest companies. Explore the channel for more stories just like this, and find out what it really takes to build a legendary brand.